Synod 2021. Hopefully you've had a great lunch, you're ready for the afternoon, and to get you ready, we're going to warm up a bit. So we're just going to stretch a little bit, stretching, there we go, we're going to reach a little bit, because this is all about warm up for ministry.
Thank you, Robin, for that warm-up exercise. Before we talk about something new that's coming, let's review where we've been. Remember the parish covenant process? In 2014, a recommendation of the Ministry Task Force resulted in forming an implementation team. Membership for the team came from deanery lay reps and regional deans. This team developed a process for parish covenants. This team later became known as the Covenant Celebration Team. A rollout of the parish Covenant Celebration Team process happened in April-May of 2015 through parish leadership workshops. E-News Weekly contained an article of the process as well. In addition to the above, Bishop Michael visited parishes and spread the word of the process. The ministry focus was on 1. Strengthening an existing ministry, 2. Starting a new ministry in the parish, and 3. To have parishes reach out into their communities. There was success in the first year of the covenant process. In order to maintain momentum and to support the process, the 2016 diocesan budget included funding for covenants. The 2016 budget saw $10,000 going towards funding the parish covenant process. Parishes could apply for up to $1,000 in funding for their covenant through an application process. In 2017 and 2018, $5,000 per year was budgeted for parish covenants. During the period between 2016 and 2018, the Covenant Celebration Team was responsible for reviewing and approving covenant grant applications. Here are some of the names of the people who were members of the Covenant Celebration Team over this period. Michael Reed, Christine Downey, Doug Green, Audrey DeLisney, Bram Pierce, Andrew Wilson, Haynes Hubbard, Michael Rice, Lynn Dillabo, Richard Hedke, and of course Mark Hauser, who provided a lot of support to the team. During the period from 2015 to 2018, there were 28 existing ministries that were strengthened and enhanced by using the process. And during the period from 2015 to 2018, there were 32 new ministries started in the parish. This brought a total of 60 parish covenants through the diocese and covering all 4 deaneries. Ministry areas included youth and families, support groups, literacy programs, food security, community outreach, community partnerships, liturgy services, parish engagement, and music programs. You may remember at Synod 2018 that an information and resource table was set up in the lobby of the hotel, providing information to Synod delegates about the process. That fall at Synod, there were also a few videos of covenants that were presented at Synod, where Synod delegates could see some of the successes that had happened during the year. Then, in March of 2020, we were hit with COVID-19 and a number of restrictions. What we were used to doing in our parishes for our communities was halted. We are now just starting to get back to where we once were. But wait, there is something new coming. We're getting warmed up for ministry again. I will now turn this over to Alex and Wayne, and they will explain what's coming.
Friends, it's humbling speaking with you this afternoon about the mission that we share as the Diocese of Ontario. We are rooted in the gospel of Christ and seek to be connected and engaged in ministry. Therefore, we seek to invest in ministry, carry out mission-driven stewardship, and serve our communities.
So building on that vision and strategy, in 2018, as part of the governance rework of our canons and constitution, included in one of the canons was looking at what happens as we end ministries, as congregations in some places make the decision to come to an end, as the assets are sold or dispersed, what happens to the net proceeds? And the canon directs that now that money goes to the Ministry Allocation Fund. And the first use of that allocation fund is in the new ministry fund. And so that new ministry fund is targeted to support the exploration, the establishment, and the nurturing of new and innovative ministries in our great diocese. And in order to do that, Synod Council has been given the governance over it, and Synod Council has tasked the Executive Board to pick it up, develop the program, develop the objectives, develop the priorities, and then develop the operational model.
We established 4 program priorities. First, that things be simple, easy to access for our congregations, parishes, and other groups of the diocese. That we have a focus on ministries that are innovative and new. That we practice the good stewardship of our resources that we have been blessed with, and that quick decision-making is the order of the day to support innovation and nurture spiritual growth. There are a variety of initiatives that underpin this. Works of reconciliation, lay leadership, evangelism, social action and justice, and the creation of a culture of gratitude.
So as we always do, we look for best practices. We want to learn from others. We don't want to reinvent the wheel. So we looked at the Diocese of Toronto, amongst others, and looked at how they put these types of new ministry programs in place. And we came up with an adaptation of their Reach and Stretch grant program. So Reach grants are all about, on the theme of warming up for ministry, reaching. It's about reaching for new ministries. And so that reach is available to any congregation. It's available to groups within the diocese that are engaged in ministry. Those ministries should be in the focus area that have been prioritized by Council, which Wayne just spoke to. Reach grants have a cap of $5,000, so larger than the covenant grants that were available before, so they can go farther and take things further. But like the covenant grants, they're really intended to be simple and straightforward, both in terms of the application and the process to get through them. So the intention is that each congregation or group can only do one Reach grant per year. It must be focused around new ministry, and that you can't, in that $5,000, include personnel costs, so hiring, etc., or capital costs. And what we will do is focus at 3 intakes per year, one in February, one in June, one in October, but hoping that people are going to come away from Synod excited, and as we hit the next shift here in our pandemic response, that as you start to engage on a broader base, people are going to leave Synod and be excited by this. So we're actually going to take our first intake in the month of December. And so that will begin as a special intake. The next one, February, will be the first of the new year. When we then get to stretch grants, this is now stretching right? Past the reach to the next level. It's about taking something that has worked well with a reach grant, a new ministry, and looking at what support might be required, if it's appropriate, to take it to the next level. And so stretch grants can be up to $20,000. To apply for a stretch grant, you would first look at and review what you did with the reach grant, what the impact of it was, what the learnings from it were. And then you would make an application to get a stretch grant. In the case of stretch grants, up to 50% may be personnel costs. Because these stretch grants have to be based on successful reach grants, we're not looking at our first round of stretch grants until October of 2022. So we talked about reach grants and being simple to get to. So it's kind of a four-step piece. The first is really understanding locally where it's best done. What are the needs in your community? What are the needs for ministry? From there, you can create ideas, opportunities, brainstorm around what that might look like, what the opportunities are to build something, and what it would take to build that ministry, and then develop plans from it. From there, you can then go and do our simple application form, which is focused on describing the ministry, who it is, who it's for, what it is, why it is, how it's going to work, and very importantly, what does success for that ministry look like? From there, you take that and go to a new ministry grant panel. And really, this is 3 people that would be put together depending upon the topic of your application. And it's a 10-minute pitch. This is not complicated with PowerPoint slides and a whole lot of technical lingo. This is really just talking about what it is, who it's for, why it is, and how you want to succeed. That group of panel is going to be empowered to grant the money and motivated to say yes. So you'll quickly get approval, and the funds will be available quickly, so you can go, and get your ministry going, and going. The second round of stretch grants, if it's appropriate, you would look through and do a review of your reach ministry. You'd look at what the successes were. You'd look at what the opportunities are for second stage funding. You'd then fill out, again, a simple application, summarize what you're trying to do, what you've learned, what you're adjusting, what the growth path is, what you're extending, and you then send to the executive board an application. Executive board would look at it, review it, they may ask for a meeting to discuss it, and then, again, the executive board is empowered to make a decision, and if they approve it, then the funds become available. So Wayne, we talked about the REACH grants in this panel. And I guess some people could look at it and say, ooh, that sounds rather like Dragon's Den. That might be a little scary. So could you talk a little bit about the experience of what a REACH grant panel is going to be like?
I would like to introduce you to 3 people from the Diocese of Toronto. You are about to meet the Reverend Eileen Steele, who is the incumbent of the parish of Penetanguishene and Wabashene, Sue Savage, who is the parish administrator and a REACH grant panelist since 2017, and Elizabeth McCaffrey, the Diocese of Toronto Volunteer Resources Coordinator with responsibility for REACH and stretch grants. All Saints Penetanguishene has had 2 REACH grants. The first was for their breakfast club drop-in. Sue saw a woman with a small child in a snowbank outside the local Tim Hortons begging for food in 2014 and decided that the parish needed to do a hot breakfast and lunch program. They received a stretch grant to expand to more days in the week in 2019 for that program. And in 2020, they received a REACH grant for the live streaming of their worship. Christ Church Wabashene received a REACH grant for a community lunch program in 2017. Let's listen to them discuss the experience of making a pitch to the panel.
We have Sue Savage and the Reverend Eileen Steele with us today from the parish of Penetang Machine. Can you please tell us, you've had a couple of successful Reach Grant applications. Can you please tell us what it's been like as applicants to the Reach Grant panel?
It's been awesome. I'm not new now to the diocese. When I first got here, Christchurch Wabashin had applied, and I found myself driving a parishioner to 135. And it was awesome how they made and welcomed me and him. And they even offered like more money. And I was like, take it.
Yes.
Oh no, this is what we need. And then for Penetang, everything we've done has just got bigger and bigger and bigger as a result of people believing in us and our ministry. As a result, from a breakfast program to a lunch program to now a drop-in center, all because people believed. And really the committee, and in my heart and my belief, is really just avenues of God's extended grace to us to continue on God's ministry. So I am so appreciative of, is that a word? Appreciative of it. It's awesome. There, I can say it.
Thank you, Reverend Steele. Sue, what was it like when you first pitched?
When I first pitched, yes, it was scary. We were coming down from like a 3-hour drive to Toronto, but we were made so welcome, and coffee, tea, goodies, the actual pitch itself, because it's not too long, it's not as intimidating as what people may think. And the people on the panel were great. They smiled, they put us at ease. It was just a great experience. Yes, it was, the nerves were there, and it always will be there sort of thing. But no, it was a great experience, most welcoming. I would do it again.
Okay.
Well, and Sue, you actually have, even though you've been asked to join the panel by Bishop Susan when she was working with us as the canon missioner. So what's it like as a panelist being on the other side? Do you have any tips for the folks at Diocese of Ontario?
My biggest tip would be keep an open mind and listen to your parishes. All the parishes, after being on the panel for quite a few years now, they really do their homework, and they investigate and they see whether they can sustain it. So my biggest tip would be just listen to them. The ideas that parishes are coming up with are so innovative, out of the box. It's wonderful. It's absolutely wonderful to hear what parishes are doing, and they're passionate about it. So
well, I want to thank you guys for your passion and for speaking with us today, because people are a bit hesitant to come before a panel, but it is a panel that helps, I think. And I'm grateful that you guys have been part of that. So thank you for your time today.
I want to extend my thanks and appreciation to the members of the Synod Council Executive for all the work that you put into that wonderful presentation that you provide for us. High energy stuff, and I love the theme, Warm Up for Ministry, and the logo that goes with us, and the opportunity for us to reach and stretch our mission and ministry in our parishes for the benefit of the communities around us. It's an exciting initiative, and I'm looking forward to that unfolding within our diocese. When I heard what was being presented and the whole excitement around this, I was put in mind of the passage from the letter to the Hebrews, chapter 12. Let me just share that with you in closing. Therefore, since we are surrounded by so great a cloud of witnesses, let us also lay aside every weight and the sin that clings so closely. And let us run with perseverance the race that is set before us, looking to Jesus, the pioneer and perfecter of our faith, who for the sake of the joy that was set before him endured the cross, disregarding its shame, and has taken his seat at the right hand of the throne of God. And then in verse 12, therefore lift your drooping hands and strengthen your weak knees, and make straight paths for your feet, so that what is lame may not be put out of joint, but rather be healed. That's what our mission and ministry is all about. It is for the healing of our communities. It is for pouring that wonderful balm of the Word of God put in action, of putting that great commandment to love God, neighbor, and self into action in the world around us. So I look forward to the applications coming in for the REACH grants and the STRETCH grants and the work that will happen in your ministries. Thanks so much for all that you are doing in support of the mission and ministry of Jesus Christ in your parishes. And together, we move on into the future that is before us, because that race, we are surrounded by those great cloud of witnesses cheering us on. Blessings on your work.